Kevin Disa, CFO of Bajaj Auto, joins us right now on the show from Pune. Kevin, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. How have the sales panned out for the month of March till now? And particularly, are you seeing any pressure on the premium motorcycle sales?
No, I think March is going to be a repeat of January, February. I don't see any surprises coming in. It's like I've always maintained, the market is going to be subdued. And that's going to be expected at least for the next quarter or so. One is not seeing a significant pickup in demand, and there's no reason for that pickup to happen, given that 20% of India is in what I would say a drought-like situation, and market is really very subdued. As far as I see it, that the only chance or the only hope that you see some improvement is if we get a good monsoon, and that signs is only up to about June. But first quarter of the current year, FY14, is going to be subdued for the two-wheeler industry.
Kevin, hi, morning. What about three-wheeler sales? Do you expect flattish growth there as well, or do you think opening up of state permits will help clock in decent volumes there?
Fortunately for us, on the three-wheeler side, it's a very good story for us. We have seen the company performing extremely well in the diesel segment, where while the market has grown by about 7% in the diesel segment, our growth is somewhere near about 15 to 17%, showing significant market growth coming in over there. Even if you see the year-on-year numbers, we have outperformed the industry, and that's significantly going up. As going forward into the next year, markets, one is talking in terms of permits being opened up, hopefully in Maharashtra or some in Delhi, etc. So 13-14 augurs well for the three-wheeler segment. Again, in the second half of the year, you would see us coming out with upgrades of the entire three-wheeler segment. That should enable us to garner further market share. So as far as Bajaj Auto is concerned, in the three-wheeler segment, I think we're extremely in a positive wicket.
Great. Kevin, how would you look at the quarter ahead? You mentioned that it'll be a bit of a watershed quarter. What are companies doing? I see a lot of car companies coming out with discounts being given in the month of March in order to prop up sales. And, you know, within that sector as well, there are companies which are mopping up market share and companies which are losing that. How is Bajaj Auto faring in that aspect, the market share as well? Because we hear Honda propping up production by 40%.
Now, let's put it this way. At least as a company, we are much more bottom line driven rather than the top line driven. Growth in market share is important, but not at the cost of affecting bottom line. So if you look at the freebies that the car companies are giving across the board, I would really be surprised if it's really doing anything to the absolute profits. Because while you have these freebies going, you may get your growth going up by probably about 5% market share, but the benefit you're giving is on 100% of the entire sales. So from a bottom line perspective, I really don't think it's really adding value. And this is the experience that I'm seeing also happening for most of the two-wheeler players who are offering interest subvention schemes. And you did mention Honda offering interest subvention schemes. Very frankly, when the interest is not there, I don't think this really generates significant amount of interest and growth in the markets. As far as Bajaj is concerned, I would say that what we would like to plan and always ensure is stocks is at 30 days. It would always be somewhere where the billing will be equal to retail. And I'm saying that currently, as of end of February, we had 5 weeks of stock in the system, which is at least 1 week ahead of what we planned. And we will correct the stocks in March and April. So therefore, the billing numbers that come out from the company for March and April will reflect the stock correction that is happening.
Kevin, what is your sense about competition as well as market share right now? Because you've got Honda, which is ramping up its production by a good 40%, which is most likely to eat up the market share of domestic players, including you. Is that a main concern?
See, Honda is a great company. There's no doubt about it. And I would not even underestimate Honda. But at the same time, is it really something that Bajaj has to be worried about? I have my reservations. We keep talking about Honda's numbers and the way that they're showing their growth from 50%, 60%, while all of us are by and large flat. But the important thing for all of you all to read and see is what is the sequential numbers that they are reporting. Honda, for example, in October has mentioned a motorcycle sale of 111,000. They have not hit 111,000 after that, whether that is in January or in February or in December or in November. So they are sitting on a normal sale of 105,000. Honda is doing exceedingly well in scooters. But as far as motorcycles is concerned, I have a view that Honda has not performed as what is their potential or what everybody was fearing about. People were talking earlier about the fact that Honda has a waiting list, has a waiting capacity, hence there was no capacity, etc. in place. But I think capacities are all in place right now. And still, as far as the motorcycles goes, they're just averaging about 105,000 numbers over the last 4-5 months. Further, as far as the dealerships are concerned, they have, as I understand, about 600 dealers. So while I'm saying Honda is a formidable player in scooters, they have not been so successful as far as motorcycles go. Does that mean we have to ignore Honda? No way. But does that mean that we have to be afraid of Honda? Sorry, not Bajaj.
Fair call. What about the political landscape and the tension between India and Sri Lanka is probably growing by the day? And, you know, the UN vote to the IPL cricket. Any impact for your operations or sales in Sri Lanka? I hope not, but you'll be the first in reply.
Yes, I think what we saw was the first impact that did come in last year, where we were selling approximately about 10,000 three-wheelers. With the duty structure coming in place, we fell to 7,500 three-wheelers. We were selling about 12,000 motorcycles. We were, with those actions, we are down to 5,000 numbers. So Sri Lanka is definitely an issue that may come up in the future. But having said that, what I see is, as far as exports is concerned for us, while Sri Lanka may take a bit of a dip depending on the action that Sri Lanka comes in, we are spread out very well across the other countries, whether it is Egypt and whether it is Africa, etc. So while exports may take a bit of a beating in case Sri Lanka falls, I think that will be more than made up by the growth in the other segments.
Kevin, tell us a little bit more about the new launch pipeline going forward. Any launches expected in the next 1 quarter?
I would not like to share with the new launches, but yes, there are plenty of launches planned. It's a question of when we would like to intend to deliver it. And I would say that we are very well geared up for taking on competition with launches coming up in probably the second half of the current year, or probably more as much as probably the second quarter of this year.
Fair call. Kevin, leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us.